You know what separates the entrepreneurs that are crushing it with AI versus the ones who are just talking about it? It's not code, it's the ability to diagnose and debug when things aren't going the right way in Cursor or Bolt or whatever service you're using. Today I'm going to introduce to you an AI agent called SEOBot that does all of the SEO writing and publishing for you, but it does require a little bit of under the hood work to get it integrated into your website, especially if the website was generated with something like Bolt. If you're using Next.js, for example, and you have a Git repository, you're going to need to integrate the SEOBot API into your website project, which is what we're going to cover today. Now, quick heads up, this video gets very real in the second half. My content style and these full build tutorials are to show you the nitty-gritty of how it goes. It's not always easy as 1, 2, 3, get the code, give it to Cursor, boom, you got what you need. No, sometimes you have to do workarounds. We're going to go into all this today. It's a long video, but if you want to learn how to implement not just SEOBot API functionality, but in general any API functionality, this is going to be a good video just to watch and get a hang of the process. If you are new to coding development, but you see the possibilities with AI, I know I'm in that same boat. I'm not a developer, just like you. So I keep in the debugging and the back and forth with the AI agent. It can be a little boring, but if you're wanting to learn how to vibe build, I think this video is going to be really helpful. So let's dive in. So we'll start by looking at SEOBot, SEOBOTAI.com. So I'm logged in and I'm paid. Basically what happened was it ran me through an onboarding where I told it all about my website. I gave it context, basically. And here in the settings, you can actually change the context at any time. You can tell the agent who your target audience is, pain points, product usage. Now, MontessoriFind.com, I haven't been taking too seriously as a business. I really just wanted to make a directory. So I am following the rules best I can. You know, what are their pain points? They don't know what Montessori is or why it's a hype. I kind of just let it autocomplete there. I did a pretty comprehensive document. I mean, it analyzes your website, right? And that said, if you go to MontessoriFind.com, you'll see I was very thorough with making a frequently asked questions section, as well as an about the website, which has a section about me. It pretty much had everything to work with. So I recommend doing that anyway for your site. So back to the settings, it'll allow you to basically let it know what you want. When you want photos, are they photorealistic? Are they abstract? Are they oil paintings, watercolors, etc.? I choose photorealistic. I just want to be professional and clean, neutral, and boom. I'm using a lot of Unsplash images from unsplash.com on the website. So yeah, professional, keep it clean. I'm not trying to be too artistic here. So then what happens is it generates headlines for you. I have it set to do 4 a week, and it generates headlines, and then you can approve them or decline them. Go, okay, I like that one, I don't like that one, whatever. So far I've approved private versus public Montessori schools, making the choice. 7 key signs of an authentic Montessori classroom. All these ones that say scheduled, I have approved. And then these are all just more ideas. So this thing is just ideating in the background for you. It's just like, all right, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? So I know what it's doing in the background. It's a really cool AI agent. I'm sure a lot of work went into building this. I know I could do it myself, but I'd rather just pay $49 a month for this to happen in the background, especially as I'm trying to just figure out if this works. Now, if I ended up making a lot of SEO websites, then yeah, maybe I would want to build this on my own. But for now, this is a great service. So it's already got 2 of these written. I can click it and it'll show me everything. Generates that image. That's an AI preschool images. It's got the slug for me. It's got the meta description, meta keywords, public versus private Montessori schools, making the choice. Freaking crazy, right? This is the world we live in. Yeah, so it looks pretty accurate. I would do your due diligence when it comes to content like this. Always verify what things are saying. But let's just say everything is good here. I love how, you know, it's got this CTA in the middle of the blog post. Like, this is great. And then it just goes right into how to use Montessori Find to do it. Even screenshotted MontessoriFind.com. So this is a really cool article. Oh, look, it's got a video on there. This is great value for the audience. So looks good. Now, I could simply copy all this and I could go into Cursor and I could say, okay, here's a new blog post, format it. You'll see over here in the data, blog posts look a little something like this. So they're in JSON format. If you're unfamiliar with JSON, then basically we have a list of blog posts. And one blog post, ID 1, Montessori Education Explained is the title. Then there's the slug, the excerpt, the content. And then this is all formatted in Markdown. And then these pound signs, the number signs, the hashtags, whatever we call them these days, those represent the header level. So that's header 2, that's a header 3. This is just regular text. And this would become a list with the dashes. So that's Markdown. The stars represent bold or italic. And so then we got the final squiggly, the final quotation mark there, essentially the author is, the date, image URL, tags, and then we go on, we end it with this squiggly bracket, and then we go on to the next blog post, ID2. So obviously, SEOBot AI is not formatting that for me, which is why I'm making this video. What we could do, now your blog could be posted anywhere. You can click publish blog and you can just set it up. They've got all the APIs set up, like easy. I mean, even here, Next.js, like here's an API key for the blog. So then it says, how do I do it? I click this, documentation, integrate SEOBot into your Next.js website. Perfect. So this is what we're going to do because, if we just go back here, this is what we're going to do because we're not using any of these sites. Now, if you are, obviously, just use them. That's great. But I'm using Next.js. And the reason I said we're not using it, because like WordPress, it's easy to just import it. Ghost, even. I'm surprised Substack's not here, to be honest. But there's Next.js. There's the API key. It's got the questions, but before it lets me use it, I have to give it permission that I understand. I understand what this means. Okay, so connect. Now, it's automatically make useful updates in the background. You should only edit your articles on SEOBot to keep the article consistent. Never manually edit articles on your blog. To manually edit an article, open the articles table in SEOBot. I understand. Okay, so we're connected now. Well, I mean, it's active now. So I go back to the blog sync status. I get my API key. I'm going to put this API key in my .env file, okay, which has private variable. I've added my API keys in my env file. And then now I'm going to the GitHub for the SEOBot Next.js blog, which they gave me the link a little bit earlier. And this is all the instructions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download the code. Okay, so you'll see I've got it saved. I've got it uncompressed. And now here in Cursor, I am going to find, did we make a docs? We don't have a docs directory, but I'm going to make a docs directory. And in there, I'm just going to drag that whole repo, okay? And inside this repo, it's got the app, the components, it's got everything there, including the README. So we're gonna open that README. I'm gonna copy everything here. I'm gonna do Apple I, and this goes to the agent here, right? So then I'm gonna say, let's integrate SEOBot AI, SEOBot API into the project for syncing blog posts. See README and the SEOBot Next.js blog. In fact, I'm just going to give it other context of that whole folder. So I just go to files and folders. I find docs. Yeah, and I'm just going to select that whole folder so it can read the whole repo. So this whole repo we got from GitHub is now inside of our Cursor folder. And we're saying, hey, check the README, check this whole code base, and integrate it into our project, basically. So I'm saying integrate the API to the project for syncing blog posts. My API key is already in .env. Boom, I'm going to send it there, and it's obviously going to share with me everything necessary. So npm install SEOBot. So that's a dependency inside the project. All right, so let's run command. Let's see this black magic run. 5 vulnerabilities, very normal. We should check that high one, generally speaking, but for now, I'm going to let that go. I'll let you run an audit and to actually fix them too if you want. So that's always there on the table. I think most people wait until it's very urgent to do something like that, but there could be vulnerabilities, security problems. All right, so it's writing SEOBot.TypeScript, and there it is. It's making a new file. So it's going to import the dependency of SEOBot. And then, okay, initialize the SEOBot client. So in this comment here, it's telling me what it's about to do, and it's taking my API key, it's importing it, it's sending it to SEOBot client, it's exporting the interface of the blog post, which we've already seen here. If we look at this one, let's look. Remember, we already have the slug, the meta description, the meta keywords, and we can get all this in HTML format and Markdown or text. But why we're using the API is because we need it in JSON format. Because JSON format, if we just go back real quick, That's how we have our schools in the directory and in the blog as well. It's all in JSON format. So going back to the chat here, it's writing this script. And yeah, so it's basically going to fetch them. And it's fetching them. Now let's update the blog page to use the SEOBOT API instead of the static data. Okay, so it's got a lot going on here. But what we need to say is we didn't want it to do it that way. I think really what we want to do, let's just ask then. Okay, so there's different ways we can go about this, is we could have it sync to the API. So this whole list of blog posts will just automatically sync to our website every time it builds. Or we can say, hey, let's have the project import the post, put it in a JSON, and then display it. So that's really up to you. What it's giving us right now, I believe, is it's just going to sync it. So I could ask, before I accept your changes, let me ask you, what will happen to my current blog posts? Will the API fetched blog posts be stored in our project at all? Now, the truth is, I do want to just sync it because I don't want that blog post just in a script file running on the server. Current blog posts will be replaced. So they're replacing my posts. They'll be fetched dynamically. How it works: when someone visits your page, the fetch blog post function will make an API call. When someone visits a specific blog post, slug, the fetch blog post slug function will fetch that specific post. These posts are not stored in your project code or database. Benefits: content is managed through SEOBot's dashboard, posts are automatically SEO optimized. So it's giving me all the benefits, which is like the sale doc from the repo, which is great. It's a good service. You can manage content without touching code. Considerations: your site will need to be online to fetch posts. There might be a slight loading delay. Yeah, what I'm curious about is how often I have to actually push the code base. Because the site's only going to update every time I push changes, a new commit, to GitHub, to the code base. And then Netlify will automatically redeploy it when there's a new commit. I'm going to say keep the current blog posts as the first 3 posts and have every post after that fetched from the API. So I'm just going to say, hey, keep these 3 we got, just as static content there, and then pull the rest from the API. And then there's a couple other considerations we have to keep in mind here. Number 1 is every time it imports a new post, we're going to have to make a commit to the Git repo. So git commit automated new blog post. And then we're going to have to commit it, and then we're going to have to push it to the GitHub repo. Because then from the GitHub repo, it's going to redeploy it on Netlify. So that is one interesting little bit that's kind of annoying. So maybe that would be a cool feature one day, but it is pretty complicated. You might have to run like an NPM server that's constantly looking for updates. And then I don't even know how you automate Git commits and Git pushes. It just means that once a week, I'm going to have to stage the changes, make a commit, and push it to the GitHub repo. So Netlify will redeploy it, and then the SEO magic will do its thing. But for now, we're just simply going to integrate it. Here we go. I'll modify the integration to keep your current blog post as the first 3. Okay, so now we got to figure out all this other stuff because we didn't actually, we installed SEOBot, but that was it. I don't remember accepting any of these changes. Let's see how it made it. It looks like it accepted them anyway. There, accept. Then we go here to blog, accept. We're going blindly where no ban has gone before. But what's cool about this is, we're using Git, so if something gets really messed up, and just revert back. All right, start the development server to test the integration. Okay, but then I kept yapping, so now it wants to do this. I wonder if it already did that. It must have. All right, so yeah, let's do it. npm run dev, baby. Okay, well, it ran. That's good. Open that up locally. It doesn't look like anything's loading. This site is not loading. Let's try that again. It loaded. Great. Go to the blog. All right, so let's go back and check. Okay, private versus public. 7 key signs of an authentic Montessori classroom. I don't see anything. These were there already. So now we say, I'm not seeing the fetched blog posts, but I am seeing the original 3. Let me help debug this. So now it's just adding some console logging. We're going to run that again. Okay, so my API key, it wasn't the right name. I put SEOBot AI. It was SEOBot API key. So that's probably going to do it, I hope. Let's refresh the blog page. No, it didn't do it. Okay, so it wants me to open your browser's developer console. F12 or right-click, inspect console. Inspect, and we're here in the console down here. Let's refresh it. All right, so lots going on here. I'm going to take a screenshot, and I'm going to pop it in here. Say, this is what's going on. And then it's Claude. So I can read the image. Of course, it's a cross-origin resource sharing error. SEOBot S3 is blocking request. Oh, from localhost. Oh, so I'm running this on a local host, and that apparently is why it's not working. So that's a good reason for us to just go on to the next part. So this is our localhost server. We're about to push it to the real server. Let's jump into what is Netlify. Every time there's a new git push command with new changes, you can actually see it's going to build the new site. It'll let you do everything you need to. It'll even let you put your environmental variables. So now that we're doing this SEOBot AI, I have to add a new environmental variable because what happens inside of Git repos, which might not be in this one yet, but we have a git ignore file. And git ignore says, hey, don't send these files to the cloud because there's private information, which means you have to have this .env file alone on your computer in the repo that's ignored by Git, and then it's alone again on the internet. And the reason it's a .env file is so you can't access it you can't type in montessorifind.com/.env. It doesn't work. So that's where you want these sensitive variables. But in the case of Netlify, we're not managing the server. It's the service doing that for us. So we don't have access to the .env file and things like that. So that's why we added it in here in the menu. So we go new environment variable, put that there, and I copy and paste that API key. Okay, and I've added the API key there with Vite SEOBot. Done. So here I am, and we've got all this new blog stuff. What we're going to do now is close the active dev. We're going to stage these changes, git commit, add SEOBot API. Okay, and see how much it added? So look, 35 files changed, 6679 insertions, 68 deletions. You can see everything going on in there. We're just trusting that it's all good. When we ran it locally, it was pretty good. It just couldn't pull the API because it was from localhost. So now let's git push this, and I enter in my passphrase, boom. All right, so you can see it's got all this going. We found 5 vulnerabilities. I'm pretty sure we have the same ones when we run it locally. But now you'll see, if I go back here to deploys on Netlify, Montessori, see, it's starting up a new one. Add SEOBot API was the name of my last commit. If we go to GitHub here, my GitHub repo is private because there's data on there I don't want everyone to see. So you can use GitHub to make your websites private as well. I would recommend doing that in enough cases, I guess. But here we go, and we can just see 1 minute ago, there was a new commit. So we're seeing everything that's been happening, and you can track these changes, deploys, it's still building, should be done any minute now. This is a good moment to share with you how you can see on the free account, you get 300 build minutes. That's how long their server takes to build your website. You get 300 a month. So so if we'll get 30 seconds. So each time I make a change that I push, it's 30 seconds of my credit. And it's a pretty good deal, to be honest. And as you get deeper and deeper into building websites in this manner, Netlify is a really cool service. So once again, you're sacrificing some control and sovereignty, like you don't have access to the server, but in a lot of cases, like deploying node projects online can be, we did that for my DAO a few years ago. We made like a treasury project, an NFT project, and we deployed it all, and we had to have an extra server to manage the changes, and it was just really a lot of work. So Netlify is a great service. All right, so we've pushed it. So let's go back. This is the local host. Now let's go to the full one. So now we're at montessorifind.com. Let's check the blog. Still not seeing it. Not seeing anything. So that's when we go back to cursor. Oh, it looks like there was uh-oh. So I missed something there. Apparently I missed something. Oh, and we got to install the pen. Oh, a lot happened that I didn't do. And now it looks like it was trying to fix it for localhost anyway. These are aborted requests. We installed that. I don't know. Let's just see if anything's happening differently right now. So now we're at localhost again. We go to blog, nothing. And we're going to inspect. All right, base fetch failed. Server responded with a 404. So I copy this image, taking this, copy and paste. I'm just screenshotting it. Getting these errors in console. So it's still building all this from the perspective of the localhost. Yeah, 404 not found. Wait, access to fetch or hood blocked by course. Error fetching base type error. I think what we'll do. All right, so we're just going to accept all that. At this point, I don't know what's going on anymore, and I might actually just start over. So this is a good time to explain. We've gone too far. Okay, I don't care for it to make a proxy so we can load it from localhost. I really don't care that much. I'm going to stop everything going on. My internet is super slow today, which is kind of annoying. So we've got all these errors. It went way too far in the other direction. We've learned some things. This is where we're like, okay, cursor, let's just start over. And to be honest, it's not going to take much to start over. So here we have this old commit. This is the last commit we made before SEOBot API. So I'm just going to copy that commit ID there. And then I'm going to write git reset hard and then paste that commit name. And basically that's just saying, hey, reset to this one when those were the changes, because we're too far now, like with all this SEO stuff. Okay, so now we're back. Okay, we're back, and that one now you can see is the test. We're back here. Okay, so we're starting over here. We've just reverted back to where we were before, and we have our docs folder, the SEOBot.next.js. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that into the agent. I'm going to say, let's integrate the SEOBot API into our project. The API key is in.env as vite SEOBot API key. The API key is in there. Let's integrate the SEOBot project into our project to dynamically fetch new blog posts. The API, and let's also say, keep the original 3 blog posts as the very first posts. We can say static blog posts. All right. Now let's give it another shot. And instead of deploying locally, we're just going to deploy straight through Netlify to our domain name so we can avoid this whole proxy thing, localhost issue with the SEOBot API. All right, well, this is an interesting situation because it thinks in the chat history, it doesn't know we reverted back. So let's just see what happens here. All right. First, we're just going to npm run dev. It's running. Let's see what happens in here at the blog. Inspect. Let's refresh it. React router, remove. Not sure. Don't have any errors in there. So let's just git commit. We're going to stage changes. Git commit message SEOBot version 2. And if that doesn't do it, we're just going to have to kind of start over again. All right, and now we go back to Netlify. It's new. We're going to see it starting up. It's going to be building. Pretty cool, right? I mean, like, you know, if you're not really like a developer, server, engineer, architect type person, like this is pretty cool. All right, it's built. So I'm leaving the inspector open, the console, as we refresh this page. Okay, this is from some Web3 plugin, apparently. Whatever. Doesn't look like anything's wrong. Content script is ready. Okay, so we're not getting issues in the console, but we're not seeing any blog posts. So here's where we go. No more issues in the console, but no blog posts displaying still. What should the URL be of the blog feed? This is where you just wonder, is it like forgetting the basic, like, oh yeah, fetch it all, but then display them too. That's sometimes how it is working with these things. And just how it goes, which is why we need to have an overarching general knowledge of how all this stuff needs to work. Now, I don't know why it's saying we're using the demo. No, it's getting the SEOBot API key there. Oh, okay, it found the issue. Okay, yeah, so I was right. This is hilarious. It just didn't change the import. It's using the static blog posts component instead of fetch blog post. It's importing the static blog post instead of the dynamic fetch blog post from the API. So once again, silly implementation problem. So we're going to add that git commit m fix function SEOBot API. And the reason we do these commit messages is just so we have an idea of where we were, which is like if you're renaming a file, version 2, version 3 again, like it just doesn't work for long, big projects like this. So when you put the commit, like exactly what you worked on, then if you have to go back and fix something, you can not only like revert back to that commit, but you can find little things that did work and then you messed it up later, but other things work and you don't want to lose that, but you don't want to lose that. So you can find what worked and you can like bring it back into your code. And that's where like you can become a really advanced Git user, which I am not. Okay, so we've pushed a new commit. Let's go over to Netlify. It's building. And as you see here, fix function SEOBot API. Now, I don't know what it did with that whole demo API thing. I hope it doesn't mess anything up. Okay, it's built. So we're on the blog post. Let's refresh it again. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing. Unable to fetch, blocked by the cores, present. All right, so now from the console, we paste that in. I have a feeling that has to do with the API key. Let's just do ask this time. This is the console error log when running on the live server. And hopefully we get something. Using no core. Okay, so it looked like it thought it was going to do this. This is interesting. And then it realized, wait a minute. Using no cores mode has limitations. Oh, so it still wants to create a proxy server. That's interesting. What I wonder is why do the documents not say how to do this? Just install all this. Oh, so it wants you to use the demo key. Oh, for local development. Okay, so why don't we do that too? We can just run this locally. That would be great, right? So there's a Netlify thing going on here. Where is it? There it is, Netlify functions. Great. So now we make a new folder in there, SEOBot proxy.ts. And then we add that there, the file. Then update the SEOBot client to use the proxy. So now we got to find our SEOBot client, which is probably here. I don't know what this is going to do exactly. All right. And then building the point of item SEOBot API key. On Netlify, the key is called Vite SEOBot API key. All right, so I'm telling it that on Netlify, in my build config, I'm already using this Vite SEOBot. So back here, it's going to use that. Now for local deployments, ensure we use SEOBot API key. Actually, let's say this instead of Vite SEOBot API key. Okay, so I hope this works here. I'm basically saying use the bottom one for local deployments, use the top one for Netlify deployments. I'm kind of breaking my own rules here, solving one problem at a time, but I really don't want to keep having to deploy this and use the build minutes until we've got it solved. And then, like I said, in the docs, I finally realized that they give you a demo API key to use for local deployments. So I really should have read that first. That's done. That's done. Okay, so let's do this. npm run dev. Let's open that up. Log. Still nothing. All right, now we're going to give it that. I'm going to go back to agent here. This is what went wrong in the browser console. Well, we already have that folder. Let's make it another file. I hope we're not going too deep again, but let's see what happens. This is kind of what happens working with APIs sometimes. I mean, even if you know what you're doing, which I obviously don't, I'm using an AI browser. I'm using AI software to do it, but even when you know what you're doing, it's a little complex. All right, so let's see if that works. Okay, then we have to install. Okay, so let's npm run dev. Oh, it's still not done. Hang on. All right, okay, got it. Oh, okay, so yeah, it did have to get kind of complicated, saying, hey, if you're running on localhost, which is this, port 5173, then make sure you use a different one. All right, now we're installing Netlify's command line interface. And I'll tell you what, I sure hope it works after this, because I do intend to edit this video, and it's going to be a lot of work. All right. We've got all this in there. npm run dev. Still nothing. Still not working. So it's wanting me to run the Netlify server locally. This is just getting more and more annoying. So I'm forgetting that, and I'm going to do git add, git commit, API fix, git push. I do have hope that it's going to work online because of that API key thing. So hopefully this will all be good. I don't know why this is taking so long. Okay, so it's published. Here we are. We're leaving the console open. Let's see. See how it goes. Oh, it's working. API post received 0. So something's definitely working. It's not finding our posts. So now I copy and paste that into there. From the live server. API connection is working, but we're not pulling any posts. There should be at least 2 posts. Getting closer, everyone. We're getting closer. So it's reading the documentation to solve this, which is pretty cool. Okay. So it's giving us something for the proxy, whatever. Let's just ask again on the blog display page, are we using the correct function to display both the static post and the API fetch post? Well, I guess that doesn't matter yet. Okay, so let's do npm run dev again. Let's see what this is looking like on the dev server. Log, inspect. Yeah, the fetch isn't working. That's a bummer. So we gotta just keep doing these deploys. Git add, git commit. More SEOBot API logging. Git push. Okay, it's built. montessorifind.com/blog. Nothing. Total post 3, fetch posts 3. It says it fetched 3 posts. So it's just one thing after another. Sometimes you want to give up, especially when you're not seeing any actual errors. But this is web development. This is just what software development is, with or without AI. Because when you're working with machines and networking them together to do things, they're working on another level than our human minds. And you can always figure it out. You just gotta keep working towards it. Content script's initializing, it's running, it's going. Okay, so now at least we have some errors, right? Well, this is good. It seems to have found something. The other thing is like, this is published. Oh. So the last thing we need to do here is make sure that these posts are published. Okay, so we're fetching posts now, finally. So this is silly, but the error was they weren't published on SEOBot Pro. I had auto published there, but I think because I enabled that after these were written, they weren't auto published. So I published them and I press sync, and suddenly it all works. So, but I'm getting errors. Minified React error. So what we can do here is just copy and paste that. And now we're going to say, hey, it's finally working, but what are these errors? So that's saying something about tags. So it's looking like it's all just about the mapping. So if I were to do this again, I would make sure everything's mapping correctly, because this would have been a lot easier if I didn't have a blog yet. But because I already had a blog, we're going through a lot of problems. So I'm showing it what the API is actually delivering, and that's probably what we should have done first. I'm just telling it everything that the API is going to give us. Real quick, just a reminder, if you're new to the command line, check out the 5-day command line bootcamp down below. It's 5 minutes for 5 days, and you'll get a lot more confident. You can also just do it all in one day if you want. But if you're new to this and you want to start harnessing AIs to work for you and start building instead of being a passenger, a spectator, I recommend getting started with that email course. Check it out in the description. Back to it. All right, we're deployed. So let's refresh the blog again. Boom, we did it. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. These are the new ones. And we got this weird read more thing. which we'll fix. And we just need to put it in the beginning, which shouldn't be a big problem either. Oh, and it's not loading the post. So the next thing I would say is, okay, it's loading the posts onto the feed now. But there are two problems. One, the feed entry is not linking to the actual blog post page. Two, the dynamic posts should be before the static posts. The static post should be last. So now we're just final touches, right? And from here, I should hope you can figure this out. I'm going to finish it. Oh, it did work this time. Nope. Read more. Yeah, the read more button's not working. That's okay. Yeah, so once again, it's just step by step. It's not going to do all the steps at once, and that's okay. This just goes back to the main rule number one, is solve one problem at a time. APIs can be more complicated than we think. They'll just connect to that and get it. But as we're seeing, TypeScript to Next.js or whatever is going on, Markdown to JSON, there's always something. It's all possible, but we need to make sure we're taking it step by step. So let's do what it says here. Okay, great. The dynamic post not appeared before. Click on the post to read more. Okay, also remove the read more text and make sure the image and the title of the blog post both link to the blog page post, the blog post page. All right. So I think that's it. I think we should be good by now. Fix blog, feed, display, push. The last thing I'll do, assuming this works, is I got to make sure that the blog sitemap is either merged to my main sitemap or it's added to Google Search Console. Once again, not my biggest concern for this exact video, but it's the same process. I'm going to go to the GitHub repo, which we really have right in here. Where's the docs? And we just go to the README and we see sitemap configuration. So literally, I'll copy this. I'm going to send that to the chat. Now merge the blog sitemap XML to our main sitemap.xml. I'm going to not send that until this is done. We confirm that this problem is solved. All right, we got the new ones there. They're all linked, looking good, and the dynamically fetched posts seem to link to log slug, as they should. However, on click, nothing happens, and the user stays on the blog page. The links work fine for the static posts. Okay, so we see here, boom, it wasn't doing that right, I guess. All right, so let's add. So, I mean, obviously this has taken a while, but considering I haven't done any real coding, an AI agent writing the SEO posts, and it's just going to automatically update, aside from a git, commit, and push twice a week on my end, like, the headache's okay, right? You just have to know how to debug and know how to be able to check the browser consoles, be able to check the error logs when you're running locally, etc. And if you can just stay on top of all that, you can eventually diagnose whatever it is and fix it with your AI copilot. And you're the captain, not the passenger. You're working with AI, you're doing it. And I really hope this works because I got other things I wanted to do today. Are we built yet? I don't know how long the edited video is going to be, but I'm at almost 2 hours. I'm at an hour 58, 55 seconds. Okay, we're published. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Nothing. Now, I wonder if I type in, it might just be a routing problem, 7 key signs. If I go to these, go to the slug, and I type that into the URL. Oh. I type that in, does it load the post? No, it does not. Still not loading the page. I think it's a routing issue. When I enter into the browser, it just redirects to blog. Well, close though. Exactly, the client-side routing isn't handling dynamic routes. That makes sense if it's in the redirects in our netlify folder. That would make a lot of sense. Wherever that folder is. No, let's just for fun go back to npm run dev and see what's happening locally. That's still not working there locally. Okay, let's try creating in a different way a redirects folder. Pretty sure we have that folder. Yeah, it's right here. This is already in netlify.toml. Yeah, so I thought it was a netlify routing thing, but I had that, so it looks like, yeah, there's something going on that's not making the post from the original JSON. Now, I do wonder, it's too late now, but I do wonder what would have been like if I just said, take the data, convert it to JSON, add it to our JSON file for blog posts, and then be done. You know, just make a webhook instead. Instead, we did the API. It's taken me for a runaround. It's taken me 2 hours when it probably should have taken like half an hour, the truth be told. This is, I think, a smoother way, but all right, so it just wants to do debug logging. The get post method is looking for an exact match. Add some debugging. All right. So we go to the posts. We go to the console. It's taking the posts. So I'm just going to expand every single thing here. The slug is there in the API output. So this agent's just helping me diagnose everything. All right, so it wants to set an error message. I mean, that'll help. So check the network tab if there are any cores or other errors. All right, so we're going to refresh this network. So I think I found the problem. Basically, whatever's happening between the API and the Next.js website is saying, okay, these are the available blog posts and these are their IDs. They're slugs. But somewhere in the mix, we started using a different slug, the slug that we got from SEOBOT API, which was this, like the URL slug, private versus public Montessori schools. So what we really need to do is it needs to pull that dynamically instead of that. That should just be the URL slug. So it sees the issues. The agent sees the issue. The base data we're getting from the API contains posts with IDs as slugs rather than the human readable title slugs. We need to modify our code to handle this mismatch. Okay, so it made the changes. Yes, so convert the headline into URL friendly slug. Okay, cool. I think this should do it. All right, so once again, I'm hoping this is going to be the last time. Fix blog URL slugs. Push. Fingers crossed once again, my friends. And as soon as this is deployed, we will refresh it, and then I will hopefully be on to my next thing that I got to do today. Here we go. Dun, 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 dun. Here we go. Hey, all right, so it didn't fix all this, but that's okay. We'll figure that out next. We got it integrated. I mean, next up, I just got to say, hey, use the Markdown instead, convert it to JSON. But for now, this is a really good step. At least it's working. It's got the right slug up in the browser window. Looking good. Exciting. I mean, that's not looking good. But it's got the images. All right, so just to finish this up, because we're doing it. Great, it works now. But the blog post itself is text with HTML inside. We should be formatting the text, or we should be pulling the Markdown from the API and then formatting it, display on our blog, just like the original posts. This should be a pretty simple thing to solve. I mean, I guess you never know. Always make sure to let it know that I'm excited. Like, hey, it works now. How exciting. Okay, so it sees that we can choose Markdown instead of HTML. So it's going to update the code there. All right, so it made all these changes for Markdown, and hopefully that fixed it. Make blog post Markdown. All right, so I'm pushing that. And the last thing I want to say is this is taking a minute each. Like it was 30 seconds before to deploy, back when it was just the website. But now that it's got to tag the API to get new posts, it's taking a minute. So if we go to the builds, if I'm getting 2 posts a week, then I'm going to have to commit and redeploy twice every week, which is 2 minutes. minimum. This isn't counting other features I add or other changes I make. So I was at like, I think half of this just about before this video, but because we're unable to really build locally, or at least I didn't want to really figure that out. Maybe I should in the future, but because I wanted to do this video, I didn't have it figured out. Now it's completed. Oh, that was only 30 seconds. That's good. But basically, we got to keep this in mind when we're developing and deploying, is like sometimes we have constraints. So the most optimal way to go about these problems is perhaps take care of them early on. All right, so here we go. It used Markdown. Boom. This is exactly what we looked like when we go all the way back to our original file that SEOBot gave us. 7 key signs. Let's see. The slug is there. 7 key signs. These tables are there. That video, I don't see that YouTube video, which doesn't even really bother me because I wasn't sure I wanted to put a YouTube video anyway. So block quotes, how did it handle these block quotes? Yeah, block quotes. This is amazing. Awesome. So I think my cursor and my project added this CTA there. Because as you'll see, I remember seeing a CTA right here. Find the best mono-square tool. So before number 4, do we see it in there? Yeah, I actually don't see the CTA at all, but that's okay. We can add a code in there or something that says like, hey, in the middle of every blog post, basically insert this same CTA, like start exploring. So there you have it, how to bring an API, in this case, SEOBot API, into your Next.js or TypeScript project. This content I'm making is to help you learn how to do this. It's not necessarily like follow all the steps and you're gonna get it. No, you need to have you need to have the mental duress. You need to be sovereign over this technology with the command line, with APIs, with Git, in order to make this kind of thing happen with these AI co-pilots, with these AI agents. We can't rely on third-party services for everything all the time, because even if they exist, maybe they're expensive, maybe we'd rather just make our own. And essentially making our own is pretty cool and it can be fast, and look what we got done. So get to know the command line, please. Check the 5-day command line bootcamp. I swear it'll be worth it. It's very basic, but it'll just get you started. What do you think? Are you building? What are you building? What do you need help with? Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, thanks for leaving a like. I'll see you in the next video.